Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about setting powders. I haven't done a video like this in quite a while. I actually have never done it with setting powders. I did it with concealers, I think like a year ago or something like that. I don't know. But today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my thoughts on setting powders. These are actually loose powders. I'm going to give you guys a mini review on each and every one. In here I have quite a few, so I'm going to try to go through them as quickly as I can. Let you guys know the finish of each powder, if I think they're suitable for all skin types, normal, dry, oily, etc. You guys get the drill, so I'm just gonna jump into it. But before we get started into the video, I do have a full beat tutorial on this makeup look. This is more bronzy look, so in case you guys are interested, I don't know if it's gonna go up before this video, but if it does, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that video in the eye and linked down below as well. Do try out a lot of new makeup in that product: the NYX mascara, the Born to Glow NYX foundation that just came out. I give you guys my thoughts on a lot of new drugstore makeup, so in case you guys are interested in this makeup look or my thoughts on the products, then go check that video out. If you like videos like this where I give you like a mini review on products from the same category all in one video, don't forget to thumbs it up right now. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not yet a part of our TSQUAD family here. And yeah guys, with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started into today's video. First off, I'm gonna start with the powder that I have been trying out for quite a while already. I want to say months and months, maybe close to a year. I'm probably lying, but I actually have very little product of this left. So this is actually the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder. This is a translucent powder. It is from the Photo Focus line, which I'm not a fan of all of their products from that line, but for some reason the powder is so freaking good. But this is definitely one of my favorite powders. I absolutely love this powder. It's a very lightweight powder. It's super thin. It's very extremely finely milled. This is a powder that is only going to set your makeup in place. It doesn't really mattify the skin a whole lot, even though it does set it really nicely, and it does control my oils in place really well, but it's not like a super mattifying powder either. So a powder that is not going to add coverage. So if you're the type of person that's looking for extra coverage, this is not the powder for you. This is just a setting powder. That is it. It doesn't look cakey on my skin. It looks actually very beautiful. I have a lot of tutorials using this powder. It doesn't give you flashback. It is so freaking beautiful in photos. It does control my shine to a certain extent. And what I mean by a certain extent, I mean by it's not super matte. It does mattify my skin. It does set my skin very beautiful, but it's not going to over dry my skin. You guys know that there's some powders out there that are literally so freaking drying because they have the word matte in them, and they're just so matte. They're just very oil absorbing, I guess you can say. I'm combination skin. I don't get oily throughout my entire face, only on my T-zones. I really look for a good powder that's just going to set my skin in place. It's going to control the oil, you know, to a certain extent, meaning it's not going to dry my skin out. I love this powder. I recommend it 100%. I recommend everybody tries this powder. I do get a lot of you guys DM me on Instagram telling me that you love this powder and you have tried it because of me, and thank you, you guys. That means the world to me, that you guys are actually like trying out products that I recommend. I am always up to try products that you guys recommend, so I'm always open to trying out the products that you guys like, so don't forget to leave them down below in the comment section as well. Blurs my pores so freaking beautifully. Now, something I will say is that I found this powder when I found the Fenty Beauty powder, and the first powder that I actually used was the Fenty Beauty one before this one. Now, let me tell you guys that I don't know if the ingredients are the same. I have no idea, but these are a dupe. A dupe. I swear, they're a dupe. The only difference is that the Wet n Wild one does not give me an allergic reaction. This one gives me an allergic reaction, and I'll explain to you guys in a second why. Because of the smell. But this is a beautiful powder. Go pick it up if you haven't already. It is so freaking beautiful. I promise you, you will not regret it. I actually have very little product, and I have to go stock up on more because it is just so good. Next up, let's talk about this one just because I did mention it quite a while ago. First of all, the packaging is so freaking beautiful. It's so innovative. I love the, what is this, hexagon, pentagon? I don't even know what this is, but anyways, This is the Pro Filter Setting Powder by Fenty Beauty. I have mine in the shade Butter, which is beautiful. I love everything about this powder, you guys. This is like an instant perfecting powder. Like I said, everything about this powder reminds me of the Wet n Wild one. Now, the only thing with this powder, you guys, is that it gives me an allergic reaction. Every time I use it underneath my eyes to set my eyes, or just anywhere around my eye area, my eyes get so freaking watery. I cannot control them throughout the entire day. It does have a pretty strong scent to it, so I'm guessing that's what's giving me the allergic reaction. I have no idea, but I absolutely love this powder. If she comes out with a powder like this without any scent, best bet, I'm going to pick it up because it is so freaking beautiful. Now, if you want to save your money and not spend a whole lot of money on a powder, I really recommend the Wet n Wild one. I was so freaking excited when I found this because it literally reminds me of the same thing. What I said about the Wet n Wild one, I would 100% say it as this one. It blurs my skin so freaking beautifully. It sets my makeup in place. It controls my oils, but it doesn't dry out my skin. It also blurs out my pores. It just gives me the most beautiful finish ever. So I really like it. But as you guys can see, I've only tried it like a couple times. It's completely new. And like I said, the reason, because it gives me like a burning sensation in my eyes. So that would be the only thing with this powder. Next up, I'm going to talk about a powder that I recently tried. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. I did get mine in the shade Fair. Something that I will say about this powder is that it does oxidize on my skin. It does change the color of the foundation, and that's the reason why I have it in 05 Fair, because I find that Fair oxidizes just a tad bit on my skin. In my opinion, this is a finishing powder that is just going to give you extra coverage. This, I think, adds coverage to my makeup, if that makes sense. Like, if you're looking for a powder to set your makeup but you don't want any extra coverage, this is not the powder for you, because this definitely gives you that coverage. And in my opinion, I've tried it different ways, so I find that if I'm using a full coverage foundation and I go in with this, that is a big mistake, because in my opinion, I just feel like my under eyes look crepey and cakey, and it accentuates my pores because it's giving me even more coverage. So I would use this with a more lightweight foundation. This almost reminds me of like a powder foundation in a sense. I do have a powder foundation here for reference. This is the Maybelline Super Stay. This is what a powder foundation would look like. It's like a pressed compact powder. If you are new to powder and you don't really know about powder, this is going to brighten your skin, but in my opinion, if you want to use it for brightening, I would just go a shade lighter or two, because it does oxidize. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Don't get me wrong, it is a beautiful powder, but I feel like you definitely need to learn how to work with it, know how to work with a powder like this, because if you don't, you're gonna be a complete cake mess. Now, I get a lot of questions from you guys on Instagram and on here on YouTube where you guys ask me, well, I hate using powder, or I don't like using powder because it makes me look cakey. That's the reason. You're probably using either the wrong powder or you do not know how to use it. So with a powder like this, I usually drench my skin with a setting spray, especially if you're normal to dry skin. I really like the continuous setting mist. I just find that the continuous setting mist is more of like a radiant finish. It's not going to give you a matte finish, and it's not going to give you a dewy. It's just going to melt the products together, if that makes sense. That's if you're dry skin. I really recommend you drench your skin with a continuous setting mist that's just going to melt all the powder products together. I can definitely do a video where I show you guys in depth my go-to foundation routine with powder and everything, or even a powder like this showing you guys how to use it, if you guys would like to see that. But do recommend you hydrate your skin very well. You prep your skin, you moisturize, you prime, just because this is definitely not a powder for everyone. Does have a semi-matte finish. It is going to mattify your skin, but it is also going to blur your pores. So something to keep in mind with the Maybelline Fit Me powder. Next up, let's talk about this one right here. This is the RCA Amino Color powder. As you guys can see, it's completely gone. When I started doing YouTube videos, this is the powder that I only knew. I don't remember who I got it from. I think I got it from Kathleen Lights. I'm not sure. But when I started doing makeup tutorials, this is the only thing that I would use. Let's just say that my makeup videos back then were horrible. I'm not saying they're the best quality right now, but right now I feel like they're a little bit better. I've learned a couple techniques and tricks along the way, and back then my face just used to look so freaking white. Like, I was a complete white cast, and it's because I did not know how to use this powder. I feel like with this powder, if you use a sponge, you're going to most likely get a white cast unless you like blend it in really, really nicely. I believe Scott Barnes uses this powder and he recommends you use it with a brush. Same, I recommend you use it with a brush because this is like stark white. This used to be like my holy grail powder, not only because it was the only powder that I knew, like literally this is the only thing that I would use, but because it used to set my makeup so freaking beautifully. It blurred my pores, it didn't alter the foundation at all, it didn't change the color, it didn't change the finish, it just set my makeup, if that makes sense. Also does not settle into your lines, which is beautiful because obviously, you know, the older I get, I feel like the more lines I start to get, and I'm not gonna go out and get, you know, like Botox or whatever, so I need a good powder. That's what makeup is for, you know, to transform yourself when your budget is running low. But this is also a great powder for baking. It's also not going to cause any type of flashback in your photography. It does not contain any pigments as well. No perfume, no fillers, no color, no nothing. That's why it's called the no color powder. So my camera completely shut down, but I forgot where I was at, but that was it for the powder. Now we're gonna move on to probably like 90% of people's favorites. Did that make any sense? I feel like a lot of people love this powder. This is the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder. Something to keep in mind with this powder though is that it does come in translucent. It does come in translucent extra coverage. It does come in, I want to say beige and then like fair pink or something like that. So there is different types of finishes and colors to this powder. The downside to this powder that I see is the smell. It does have like a rosy kind of strong scent to it. It doesn't bother me. It also does not give me an allergic reaction like the Fenty Beauty one does. So I don't mind it. But just keep in mind, because I know it can give some people an allergic reaction, or not even an allergic reaction, but some people just do not want to have to do anything with scents in face products. So during the summer months right now in Vegas, it gets so freaking hot, you guys. It gets like over 110 degrees, and this is definitely a powder that I recommend people that live in like hot, humid weather use. This is, I want to say it's a bit thicker than a finely milled powder, but this is definitely going to set your makeup. It's going to control your oil all day and in place. So definitely if you're oily skin, I recommend this. If you're more on the normal to dry skin, or you just don't like that heavy feeling, I guess you can say, the Wet n Wild one is probably your way to go. This one doesn't feel heavy, but it is more on the like thicker side, I guess you can say. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It doesn't alter your foundation. It doesn't change the color of your foundation. It doesn't do anything like that. I actually really, really like this powder, and I love it for the main reason and the main purpose only that if I'm going to do a full beat and I want my makeup to last the entire day, this is probably something that I will gravitate towards, just because it's going to make my makeup last all day, and it is also going to make my face look poreless and blurred. When I say poreless, I mean it, you guys. This is such a beautiful powder. I feel like for the price, you can't beat it. This reminds me of the Laura Mercier translucent powder. The reason why I don't really invest in higher end products anymore, or higher end powders, I guess you can say, because there's a lot of good ones in the drugstore that I feel like a lot of us don't try. You know what I mean? So great powder. Check it out if you're oily skin. I promise you, you will like it. I mean, obviously if you don't like the smell, well, you're not going to, but something to keep in mind. To move on to the Kylie Jenner powder. This is in the shade Translucent. I tried this in a video and I hated this powder. I've been trying it ever since. I try to give it second chances. I'm going to obviously continue to use it because it's Hello, it's new, and they don't accept returns. I hate this powder. Does anyone else feel that way? Because I do not like this powder. I feel like there's definitely other powders at the drugstore that work way better. For some reason, I have tried this powder with so many foundations, so many concealers, and I feel like it just gives me way too much coverage. It cakes up my makeup. It looks so freaking bad around my pore area and my nose. It almost looks like I have like chunks of foundation with powder, if that makes sense. Like, this is such an ugly powder. There's just nothing to say about it, you know what I mean? So big no for me. So next up is the Rimmel Stay Matte Mattifying Loose Powder. This one is in the shade Transparent. I have a love-hate relationship with this powder. I feel like it's way more mattifying than the Coty Airspun powder. The only thing with this one that I feel like it almost like dries out my skin. But I feel like if you're really oily skin, you're really going to love this, especially if you have an event outside where it's going to be like super hot weather. I feel like you'll really like this. I usually only use this to like touch up the areas where I'm getting oily throughout the day, and it will mattify my skin instantly. I promise you. With this one, you will not get oily throughout the day, especially if you bake. But I only recommend this powder if you are like extremely oily skin. I know there's people out there that are like really oily skin. I'm combination skin. The Coty Airspun is more than enough for me. I feel like it sets my makeup, like I said, and it blurs. The only difference is that this one blurs my skin, and then this one dries out my skin to the point where it accentuates my pores, and like I said, it just looks a little bit too heavy on me. If you're dry skin, I don't recommend this powder at all, like at all. Powder that at the beginning when I use it, it almost makes my face look really tight. You know, like when you apply a powder and you can't really move your face, that's how this one makes my skin feel. But again, it's just about preference. It's just about what your needs are, if you are oily skin or dry skin or normal, combination, etc., you know. Next up, I'm going to talk about it because I have it here. This is the Dermablend Loose Setting Powder. This is an up to 16-hour wear powder. This is going to mattify your skin, but it's not going to dry your skin. I'm just going to go through this one super quickly because I feel like there's just not a lot to say, because I wouldn't repurchase this because I feel like there's just better ones at the drugstore anyways. This is like over $30, so why even talk about it, you know? I feel like my main focus in today's video was to share the drugstore powders that I really liked, and then just kind of like go through the ones that are high-end or that I'm just not going to use at all. I also have the Pretty Vulgar one, but I have not really tried this one. I don't know what I think about it. So if you've tried it, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of this one? This is the Matte About It, the Powder Room Translucent Setting Powder. I have not tried it. It's completely new. So therefore, I do not know anything about this powder. So if you've tried it, let us know down below. The ColourPop No Filter Setting Powder is another powder that at the beginning I did not like. As I started to use it more and more, I started liking it more and more, if that makes sense. This is a powder that also reminds me of the Laura Mercier powder. This is a super mattifying powder. Also, this comes with super little product. I would just get the Coty Airspun or the Wet n Wild Photo Focus powder because this is just tiny. You know, this looks like a travel size in my opinion. So that's just my opinion. Powder though, don't get me wrong. I actually finished it up and I filled it up with some of the Fenty Beauty one that I took on a trip a while back. I just wouldn't repurchase it because there's other products at the drugstore that do the exact same thing. So next up is the CoverGirl True Blend Mineral Loose Mineral Powder in the shade Translucent. I actually used this as a first impressions in today's video. Let's just say that this is not my favorite powder and I just bought it like literally yesterday. This has glitter in it, straight up glitter, and I look for a setting powder. I look for something that does not have glitter at all, and the reason I say that is because I'm combination skin. Even if I don't want glitter underneath my eyes or around my face, let me look at my face up close to kind of give you guys like a full little review. But once I applied this powder onto my skin, it doesn't look like I have glitter on it, but when you swatch it on your hand and you're at the drugstore and you're swatching it, you're probably going to get scared because you can literally see glitter specks coming from within the powder. But when you apply it, I don't know what happens to the glitter, it just goes away. My under eyes look pretty good. It just added a tad bit of coverage, so that's something that I don't like in a translucent powder unless I'm like specifically wanting extra coverage, which never happens. I don't want extra coverage. I just want to set my makeup in place. So this, I don't know how I feel about this yet, you guys. Let me know if you guys have tried this. This is actually fairly new. It just came out not too long ago. But this powder is more geared towards people that want that like glow from within. It says you can use it alone or you can use it over your foundation, under your foundation. So next up is the Revlon Photo Ready Candid Powder. I'm gonna go through this like in a blink of an eye. I was like whatever with this powder. It's not a powder that I would use, honestly. It was like nothing special, nothing wowed me. it was just like whatever. Next up is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Translucent Powder. I have been trying this powder out off camera. I really want to like it. I really want to like it. Do I think it's worth the money? No, not at this point, because I don't like the smell. It smells like cotton candy. I don't like the smell. I don't like intense fragrance like that. But the smell wasn't the thing that bothered me the most. What bothered me is that it dried out my face so freaking bad. Like, this is matte to the core. I definitely have to continue to use this and give it more of a, I guess you can say, like a second try. But off of first impressions, I wasn't like wowed by this. I actually did not like this at all. I was very disappointed when I tried it out for the first time. It made my makeup just look very dry and cakey. Maybe I used it the wrong way, so I'm not going to judge it yet. I'm actually going to continue to use it here on my channel because I haven't really used it on camera to share with you guys, so you guys can see how it applies. So I'm going to hold on to this powder right here. That was my little media review on these whole setting powders. Those are my thoughts, letting you guys know the finish of them, just in case you guys have been wanting to pick one up or are going to pick one up, or you already have one. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what are your favorite setting powders. Don't forget to follow me on Snapchat and on Instagram, because when I'm not here, I'm most likely over there, so go follow me there. And yeah, with that being said, I will catch you guys very soon in my next video. For now, I'm going to go ahead and leave a couple of videos on the screen in case you guys missed my recent uploads. I do have this beautiful bronzy look where I tried a lot of new drugstore makeup, from foundation, concealer, moisturizer, powder, primer, everything. So check that video out. I also have a more colorful video here on the screen, so you guys can check that out. But yeah guys, I will catch you guys very soon in my next one. Bye guys.